right, so everyone, we are recording, and we will just let people to join in just a few moments, but we can start now. So just a quick reminder to ensure a smooth experience for everyone in this session. First, please make sure your microphones are muted to minimize background noise. And we encourage you to use the chat feature or raise the hand button for any questions or feedback. And most of all, enjoy learning and keep asking questions. Introducing our virtual host, CKAN co-steward, Steven.
Thank you, Kay. This is pretty funny, pretty cool, pretty awesome. Best part so far is that Jeff is here. So Jeff is Sook's partner, met in Manila not that long ago, and I just think it's awesome that he's come along to check this out and see what it is that Sook does and what it is that Link does. This is a very informal thing. This is kind of like, you could almost think it's a party, but who knows? Is it a party? It's a bit of a collection of people around a concept that about 3 weeks ago, I think I was just pondering as part of International Open Data Days and what I might personally be able to do for that. About a week after that, I mentioned it to Joanna and Kate and a couple other people in basically the stewards catch up that we do every couple of weeks. And we thought we should maybe make this a thing. Let's see if we can do it. So registering on the Open Knowledge International Open Data Day website, just an event here in Australia. That's what this is. This is basically the culmination of that single act of registering something, calling it CKAN Demo Days. I'm totally mixing it up massively already. Bad brand recognition or whatever you call it. But registering something, creating a little bit of an event. That's the whole thing about International Open Data Day. Lots of different people from around the world registering their interest, doing something, whatever it might be. This is our thing. This is my thing. And somehow from this little seed of my idea, it then became a Link Digital thing. It then became a CKAN thing. And who knows, maybe it'll become a thing for lots of people around the world who have been involved in the CKAN project, open data projects generally, and are interested in the crossover between what they do around open data internationally and what CKAN offers them as an open source project, particularly around this idea that it's a digital public good. It's accredited as digital public good by the Digital Public Goods Alliance. In that, for no small part, it supports the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN in some number of ways. And I know it's more than the ways that it's been accredited for. So that's all super cool. The last week or so has been pretty interesting for me personally. I think I posted a video with Peanut, our little puppy dog, 4 years old, Shih Tzu Maltese cross, one of those Maltese crosses that can't stop yapping at the front window when people walk past. It's immensely annoying and untrainable to remove. But yeah, that dawn of International Open Data Day on the 2nd of March was kind of a bit of a kickoff. It was a bit of a vulnerable moment for me personally, and maybe Link Digital by extension. In the LinkedIn post that I made around that, there was a bit of a call out to maybe some areas of improvement with regard to Australia's approach to open data and its approach to digital technologies and data and digital strategies and such. Particularly around using things like digital public goods, investing in and coordinating around digital public infrastructure. So let's see. What's been fantastic about this event? This is kind of a capstone moment. It's basically getting to the bookend of what has been a week of really cool videos published by a bunch of different people at Link, kind of reflecting on what that means, what I see from that. Quite a few of them have been, for me personally, quite emotional to see. It's really rewarding to see people who really connect with the CKAN project and then do so in such a way that they would publish a video, put themselves out there, present from their own perspective, and connect with the objectives of what CKAN is as a project in the way that it supports the community. So I want to share screen. I want to at least acknowledge some of the awesome work that's been done. But I won't literally go in and present and sort of like show the videos. I think that's for everyone else to kind of have a look themselves. What I hope personally is that folks will see what the folks at Link have done. They'll take some inspiration from that. They'll then do their own videos. They'll put those forward with the CKAN Demo Days hashtag. They'll contact Joanna from Dartopian, Kate from Link, or me, and let us know so that we can actually add those videos to a playlist for CKAN Demo Days 2024 onto the CKAN YouTube channel. So the ones that I'm just going to go through today are really the ones that Link has published. I didn't have enough time through the week, as much as I wanted to reach out to folks that I know in the community in Australia to get a broader sort of spread to this. Folks like Salsa Digital in Victoria that do CKAN work, they've got some projects I'm sure that they would love to demo and like share through this sort of initiative. There are like Queensland government, they do some really cool work. They do the X-Loader stuff at the moment. They're maintaining that extension. I'm sure they'd like to talk about that and create a little video in why they're committed to that extension and why they've just taken up maintainership of that extension. And there's a ton of other folks in the community, whether they're individuals or organizations. And from their perspective, here in Australia, there's a really compelling story. Internationally, I know of way too many people who have been doing CKAN stuff for years and years and years, a lot of them for at least a decade or more. And reaching out to them is something I'm still keen to do. I will be still doing that after this conclusion, I guess, if you call it the conclusion of International Open Data Week. So yeah, watch this space. What we should do, I'm going to share screen and just talk through some of the submissions that we got. So this is the first thing, right? I kind of mentioned that this was an idea I had, mentioned it to Joanna. It was one of our regular catch-ups. And then Joanna like smashes this out. It's basically, she created an event, she's promoted it on LinkedIn, she's put it out there, she's created the whole blog post, she's put together the whole sort of series of how-tos and what-fors and too long didn't read type summaries. She's showcased the fact that right at the end, that Link is doing something trying to centralize a little bit of an Australian type event. This is awesome. This broke my heart. This is a fantastic contribution, not just something that I've come to expect from Joanna, but it's just the kind of leaning in that people do within the CKAN community. They've got enough inspiration and knowledge about what the project is about that if someone like me comes forward with a little bit of an idea, then someone like Joanna with a little bit of energy, quite a bit of energy actually, can really lean into it and really create something special, which is fantastic. This is what I love about the CKAN community and open communities in general, right? So that's the first thing to call out. That was the first amazing thing. This creates an opportunity for us to move from what I would call the idea that I had to the ability to get people at Link to post some videos, like formal control, like, can you please, because you work for Link. So something beyond that, which is be inspired, do it yourself. Do it because you want to do it, because you want to share it, right? And that's what we need to move towards as the next stage for CKAN Demo Days. So that's the first thing to share. This is pretty cool. Like I said, this is the playlist that got uploaded, I think at about 2 p.m. my time today, so about 3-4 hours ago. We've got Alexei. He's been with Link for about 4 or 5 years. He works as our operations manager. He basically manages the teams. We have a lot of people in Ukraine, or Ukrainians, I should say. Quite a few folks have had to relocate due to the full-scale invasion. But we've had him addressing and talking about why he is a fan of CKAN, particularly as a Ukrainian, why he thinks open data is important for civil society, why it's important to fight things like misinformation, disinformation, why it's important to proactively plan for events like pandemics and whatnot. And that's a really amazing and unexpected result from this whole initiative. The next one was actually the first video that we got. So from Sergei Shadrin, another one of our Ukrainian team members, he has recently put a module together for CKAN Sync with Drupal. And it's on Drupal.org, so you can go check it out. You can log issues, you can get involved in the project and contribute to it now, which is cool. And it's just, again, another one of those really great things. I wasn't kind of expecting it. He was one of the first people to submit with almost no pressure, no sort of, hey, please do this. And it was just really great to see him come back and publish that as well. Next is Kate. Now, she wasn't next in terms of the timeline because that was Karina, but Kate has put together a really cool off the cuff, but yeah, very well like planned and sort of prepared and presented informational video on what Open Data Week is all about, what CKAN is all about, and why folks might be interested in getting involved, all that kind of stuff. It's hardcore 100% advocacy, which I think a lot of people can forget is really important for an open source project like CKAN, and for advocacy oriented program of activity like Open Data, right? I will admit a bias here that Karina's is my favorite. It's not because I'm in it. It's just really cool to see Karina, who has been with the company for almost 5 years. I think it's 4 years, 10 months, maybe 11 months. She came on board as my executive assistant when I was living in Berlin. She was helping to kind of bridge me promising things but not doing things with the actual delivery of things getting done. One of the things that she picked up really early on was going in and manually updating CKAN data shades. What CKAN data shades? Sorry, datashades.info, which lists a whole bunch of CKAN portals. So she goes through that. She actually basically gives us a walkthrough of how she's been doing that for the last pretty much 5 years. And yeah, it's just awesome. For folks in the CKAN community, we've got Alex Gostov. I know I'm kind of rattling on here, which is totally fine because, you know, this is the stuff I'm proud of. I'm like a mum who has birthed these amazing ideas and these amazing people who have created these amazing things, right? So Alex has been working as the product owner for CKAN for a number of years now. He was funded by Link, recruited into the project. We spent many weeks, every week, catching up on Tuesday afternoons. That Tuesday afternoon session is now expanded. It's become the CKAN 3.0 task force. So we've got people like Dragon joining, we've got people like Brett joining as well. The stuff that he talks about in this video, the consensus-driven decision-making with CKAN, has kind of formed up over the last couple of years. It's a hypothesis-based, open, issue-based tracker, a way of like bringing everyone's ideas to the board, talking about it and sort of like debating it and then moving that forward to see, can it be validated? Can it be moved forward as part of CKAN 3.0, for example? And can it be something that we can all buy into as a community and integrate into a future version of CKAN? So really important stuff. Maybe it's a bit of nitty gritty with regard to how we move the project forward, but really great to see Alex jump aboard. And look, who's this? Rupak is on the call. Rupak, you should talk about your own video. Or am I putting you on the spot?
Sure, I can. If somebody wants to say something, if it's Suk or Kate. Okay, let me tell you regarding this video. So obviously, as Steve mentioned, so he has requested me like the kind of job or kind of work we are doing day in, day out. So if we can come up with some different kind of approach for one of the engagement, especially here I'm talked about, or I did mention MSF, the work we are doing with that customer. I will not say customer, but the way they have come up with the approach. They want to change their behavior of sharing the data. That's what the main starting point. I'd rather say their ecosystem is so different. They means as a MSF, and the name itself can tell you like the kind of big organization they are. So it's like a normal behavior, and they have to deal with a lot of different actors, rather different user base, who can see what kind of data, and then how they will going to consume the data, and what should be the procedure to consume the data. So those are all different personas, different users, different actions they can perform. And that is the reason, like, they engage with Lingatel, which is basically us. And then we started up on this engagement 2 years back, actually. And then there were like several workshops. I mean, one of my, colleague traveled to, MSF location and then attend the physical workshop with them. So there was like phase one, initially like MVP, and then phase two. This is phase two comes up actually. And we actually launch a pilot version of the product right now. And then there are a lot of analysis going on, internal kind of analysis. We used to call in product management, like, user analysis, scenario analysis, feedback analysis, all those things. So they're going to cater all those, feedback and try to come up with some, next phase altogether. So yes, that is what it's all about. There is one more thing. So I tried my level best, try to come up with that approach. What has started initially, and then what was the approach, and then how we engage with them. What was the different problems or impediments we found. And then other than that, most important thing I highlighted, how we just process the situation or hurdle and different issues we have faced as a team, and customer help us like what should be the procedure to come out. And then currently we are in a positions to launch the pilot version, and waiting for user feedbacks and everything. So yes, that is what is all about this video.
And the cool thing is the screenshots. So this is a bit of a demo. So you get a glimpse of how it was built up. But yeah, absolutely, the data sharing concept around concept note through to publishing data against a research project for different stakeholders, it actually coincidentally happens to be a little bit similar to the next one, which is a bit of a cheat. We had a customer forum or a public forum last week. It was recorded. So Tom Barrett from New South Wales Government, senior scientist, he presented a project-orientated data catalog for environmental data, environmental projects, and collaborators around such projects, allowing folks to understand the value of different data sets, provide feedback of different data sets for the purpose or context of those projects. And it's not too dissimilar in some regards to the MSF project. Like, I think in the customer forum when I talk about churning the butter, I don't know if it's a great example, but I'm a bit of a Will Ferrell fan, and the reference there is for those who are also Will Ferrell fans, and the Eurovision Song Contest Story of Fire saga, they would get it. But yeah, when you've got energy put into a system, you want to make sure that you're not using anger, you're not using crazy, silly, distractive ways of putting energy into things. You want to kind of control it. You want to be steadfast. You want to be pretty much calm. With that kind of attitude, when you're churning the butter, creating the value, it makes more sense. And I think when people are doing science, they are literally churning the butter. They're not doing anything in anger. They're not doing anything kind of ill-planned or ill-considered. So data portal and data portal processes, when it comes to managing projects and managing the data governance of the outcomes, are typically going to be value oriented. So CKAN's a great tool for kind of like pulling that together and having a community of practice work together as they, just to stretch it and labor it, churn the butter. So yeah, Tom's video is out there. It's already had really good views. It's already had some really good comments. Not necessarily even in YouTube, but just where it got shared elsewhere outside of YouTube on LinkedIn and such. We've got a couple of videos next that got published by, well, Brett. So for those who joined the CKAN Monthly Live, we had Brett give a demo of spinning up CKAN on GitHub Codespaces. It was with great acknowledgement of work that Adria had done, I think 1 or maybe even 18 months or 2 years earlier. That's still true. So Brett has refreshed this video and like put it together as a new version. So it's got uploaded and put into the playlist as well. I skipped one, sorry. CKAN delivered by Link Digital on AWS Marketplace. So this other one of a similar ilk is basically how to spin up CKAN on AWS Marketplace. Joel Wigley from our team, our SysOps chap, who manages a bunch of our cloud infrastructure projects and make sure that all the lights stay green. We don't go into incident response with our customers. He's put this together. We've had the CKAN image on AWS Marketplace for a long time. I think it's about 2017 now. Gets updated pretty often when there's major releases. Does it get patched as often? No, not quite as often, but we do try and maintain it as often as possible. It's been used by a lot of folks to trial CKAN over the years, that's for sure. If we look in the back end and have a look at how many times it's been spun up, checked, and actually looked at, how many people have spun up instances on it, it's quite a big number. And folks do actually seem to use it for even production or persistent workloads as well. There's quite a few instances still running that just run off the AMI, because maybe not everyone needs a massive chunk of infrastructure to run their data catalog. Maybe they can run it off one instance, Solar and all sorts. So that's one to watch it. And GitHub is more for DevOps. It's more for spinning up something from a GitHub branch, having a good look at it, maybe trialing it and actually seeing how it works. If you get into the Codespaces config files and such, you can probably check it out. It's something to dig into. This baby names one is pretty cool. Yaroslav, another one of our product owners, like Rupak, has put this together. There is zero code in this. It's essentially Yaroslav going through and showing us a data set that he used from New South Wales government around baby names since like 1952. The top 100 baby names, registered births, deaths, and marriages since 1952 through to 2018, I think. The data set goes to 2022 now, but I think he had his first kid Marcus in 2019. So yeah, he's drawing back to that experience and talking about how he used this data set, how to look at a couple of different ways of viewing a tabular data set from the standard resource view, to help him make the determination that Marcus would actually be a pretty cool name. He should have just looked in history and thought about Marcus Aurelius and thought, what a cool chap that fellow was. Which I understand is actually why it's the Marcus that is the Marcus. But if you've ever had a chance or a crack at pronouncing Yaroslav's last name, you would understand why he wants his firstborn son to go to school with a name that's unique enough that it will be used in the school grounds, rather than people making up nicknames from his last name. So I can actually understand exactly why he's done it. Basically, a couple of promos. So I did the first one with Peanut. I mentioned that right at the start. No need to even talk about that. It was just a bit of fun. I woke up a little bit too early and thought I might as well jump out before the sun gets up. And Peanut was ready to go, as he always is. And then the other one was another really surprising, cool one from Kate. She only put it out, I think, yesterday. It's a really nice promo. It's like we need to use this promo again and again for each of the years moving forward. And it's just one of those little pieces of evidence that make me feel like if just within the folks here at Link Digital a little bit of encouragement has generated this kind of diversity in the kinds of demo day videos, then there must be like 1,000 more stories, right? There must be so many more stories that can be shared. And that, to me, I think is what we need to conclude with. It's kind of where to from here. I can tell you, because I think that's what I was going to loop back to. This is the callback bit, right? So my view, I'll stop sharing, is we have an opportunity right now to think about what is the International Open Data Day with regard to the community around CKAN. What does this little experiment represent? It's surely it's more than just Link Digital and me kind of poking people and asking them to do videos. It's come back with like a much stronger response than the signal I put out, right? The folks who provided the videos have come back with stuff that I wouldn't have been expecting, and I'm really, really impressed by, and I'm really happy with. And I really want to kind of keep this going. I think that beyond this, it's around how do we get more vendors like Link Digital publishing videos from their own staff, from their own contributors, from their own product owners, from their own non-functional, non-technical folks as well, their own marketers, their own salespeople, their own business analysts, to talk about why they understand that open data is important, why they think that that locks in to an open source project like CKAN, and what they hope for in that space. That's kind of the next stage, I think. I will be leaning into this myself personally as the co-steward for CKAN. I'm very keen to reach out further within the Australian context. As I mentioned, folks like Salsa, there are other organizations, customers of CKAN, different states and jurisdictions and government agencies that I know of that are using CKAN. They're building it internally or they're maintaining it internally. I would really, really encourage others to be inspired by this and pull together their own initiative, like become a champion for CKAN. Poke people like I did. You probably get the feedback that I got, which is folks are happy to respond. Folks are happy to publish and talk about CKAN. They've actually got really cool and interesting and awesome stories to tell. They just need a little bit of an opportunity to pull it together and make it a bit of a showcase. So between now, which is 2024, International Open Data Days week, to the next one, I would be recommending that maybe we make this a monthly thing. Maybe we collect all of the best CKAN Demo Days videos that have been published within a month, give them a spotlight moment in CKAN Monthly Live. We let people know about them, maybe not with all the wordage that I just did about the ones that were just in that list, but we highlight them, right? It gives everyone a little bit of exposure through one of the main channels through which we expose CKAN to lots of different folks, new people, ongoing contributors, all sorts. And then people create their own center of value, center of opportunity, center of activity around CKAN. That to me would be fantastic. By this time next year, International Open Data Days 2025, I would really love, and who knows, can we make it happen? I would love to see that there is a almost like an awards night or a best of, who has contributed the most astounding, amazing, unexpected things to the CKAN community, to the open data community, to all of the things that we aspire to work together towards. And we can use the videos as evidence of that. We can use that as the inspiration to bring these stories together and move them forward into International Open Data Day in 2025. That to me sounds like a really cool, fun thing to get involved in for the next 12 months. One of the many things. I am happy for Jeff to talk because Jeff's just super cool and awesome. People don't know about Jeff, but I met him. We spent a long time chatting one evening, and he gave me some compliments. So he's top of the list. He's on the Christmas card list. But yeah,
Hi, Steven. Hi, Steven.
It's just good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. How are you?
Fantastic. Having fun.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it, right?
Yeah.
He was not programmed to talk.
Huh?
Yeah.
He was not programmed to talk, Steven.
I'm not sure what to say. I'm a dummy in terms of IT related subjects. I'm just here to learn and listen to you.
Fair enough. Well, you've had a lot of listening, right? So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of talking. This is it. International Open Data Day. It's a massive global event, advocacy around open data. Historically, it's been little things like this. There might only be half a dozen people contributing, half a dozen people to a dozen people involved. But it is a little bit of a signal light in every little part of the world where these things occur. The advocacy around open data is important, but also the enablement. So there are people who are new to it. People don't really know what the practice is all about. They might not know kind of like the socio-economic philosophy behind it or the economics of it. They might not know the close links to open source communities and open government communities and civic tech communities. So the cross-pollination, the crazy people like me who just want to talk about it and will talk about it till their dying breath. These sorts of things are what International Open Data Day is about, right? But CKAN Demo Days, if I get the thing right, it's not CKAN Data Demo Days, it's not anything else, it's CKAN Demo Days. I don't know, it's just been a really cool experience over the last week, and I am really keen to keep it going. So someone at 3 o'clock in the morning when they can't sleep, they might be in a little known part of the world. They might be frustrated by their government, might be frustrated by their local political situation, or frustrated by all sorts of things. And they might think, well, here we go. This is something I can maybe get involved in. That's the kind of seed of an advocacy we need within the community. It's not just for the techos, it's for people who actually care about their communities. And CKAN, digital public good, got to get everyone investing in it. It'll get stronger and better through public investment. Question from CKAN.
Yeah, we've got a question, Steven.
So looking towards the future, how do you envision the evolution of open data and its impact on society? What changes or developments do you anticipate for platforms like CKAN in response to emerging technology? Well, this looks like
such as
very
AI.
much a planted question from you, Kate.
What is that?
Is it a planted question from you?
Yeah.
So the weird thing is, I've always thought that the way we run things, the way we sort of experience and control. So I was explaining the metaphor to someone earlier this week. But we flow through like a river towards an outcome, towards maybe a positive destination or a positive outcome, or a maybe not so positive. We may want that river to alternate and move and go in a different direction. So if we're going to go off a cliff, or if we're going to get stymied by going into a lake, if we're not going to keep flowing and keep moving towards the destination we're actually hoping for, could be the delta, could be the open sea, we might need to make corrections, right? We might have some agency in making those corrections and making a determination that we can actually move in those new directions. And this is a thing that is actually important for individuals as much as it's important for communities or societies or structured organizations and all sorts. When we have the agency, then we actually need the control. So agency might come or manifest as passion. It might manifest as like a clear directive and a clear sort of like onboarding that this would be valuable to myself, to my community. You can communicate around that, and you can actually get everyone to believe that is the destination. So I'm getting to an answer. But on either side of that river, how do you actually correct? How do you actually make adjustments? And I do firmly believe it's either formal or it's informal. Formal would be things like, you know, in an organization, someone has a job, they have, you know, and like a job description, they have tasks they have to perform, they have a management sort of approach that will be able to delegate them onto different tasks and actually change the way they might work formally. In government, we have formal things as well, like regulations and compliance and all sorts around policy directives. And so we formally try and control the way that things like markets work, or the way that people behave in civil society together from a legal framework. And we have penalties if people don't behave in the right way. So these kind of formal controls are really important. They might give us some ability to correct or recourse the river. But informal controls are just as important, actually more pervasive and potentially more powerful, because they rely on things like belief and culture and acceptance and hope and you know, kind of like a learned behavior that might come from just a patterned response to how you interact with the world around you. Those kind of informal controls are really important as well. So how would open data work? Well, it's about telling us the actual course of the river. It's about helping us understand whether or not we're influenced by formal control that we might be unhappy with, or informal control that we're passively ignorant of, and we're just sort of like flowing or being corrected by. Open data has the ability to provide an actual evidence-based understanding of where the river is going, where the general flow of where we're directed towards is impacting on us, and give us some sort of guidance about how we might implement slightly different formal or informal controls to perhaps, if we're very, very lucky, get us into a slightly better position over some period of time. So yeah, how would platforms like CKAN help? It's largely around transparency. It's largely around the accountability of government, accountability of organizations, accountability of projects and programs, to literally account for whether they're achieving their objectives, whether they're actually moving us towards the purpose. Yeah. And that's a big answer, but it was a very big question.
Right. That's the only question that I've got.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to wrap this up. This is like, I have to just say again, like, this has been really awesome from coming from 3 weeks ago, just having an idea that I would love to do something for International Open Data Day, Open Data Week, to today, where we've got like 10 awesome videos that didn't exist a week ago, now on Link Digital's YouTube channel. And I think we've got a purpose, we've got a direction through which people can actually take their own initiative. I'm going to put my influence and my informal controls towards getting other people going in that same direction, get them sucked into the river, as it were, and we'll move CKAN Demo Days forward. Cool. Well, thank you all for coming. Jeff's the only cool guy because he really didn't have to be here. No one else had to be here either, but I do really appreciate it. It's totally cool. All right, see you all again very soon.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll be sharing the recording within 24 hours.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Ciao,
Bye,
ciao,
all.
ciao.
Thanks, Steven.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.